Hey, I'm Carson DeLapp, out here in Highlight Canyon today. We're going to look at swinging the ice tool, just the basic fundamentals of swinging these modern leashless ice tools. What this is going to do is it's going to help you transfer more energy from your body into the head of the tool, which in turn will drive the pick. And once you can do that, that'll actually save you energy as you start to climb up steeper water ice. You'll get better sticks. And with better sticks, you'll be able to hold onto the tool and transfer more energy from the tool that's in to the tool that you're swinging. So there are a lot of mechanics and techniques in swinging the ice tool. And what I like to tell people is like these things are, they're super sharp, they're daggers, and they do a lot of the work for us. But we have to start to see how that work can be done. But they're like a hammer. We're going to let the energy of the head of the tool really be what drives into the ice axe, or what drives into the ice. And so, a lot of this comes down to how we hold it. So I've got Matt here too that kind of learning how to do some ice climbing, and so we're just going to talk a little bit about holding the ice tool. So we just grab the ice tool. Yep, and just grab it with your thumb or your hands there. And how we hold it. The easiest way to think about how we're holding it is you're going to take these fingers and just start to loosen them. Just kind of keep it loose in your hands. In fact, what we can do is go ahead and remove your pinky finger. Yep. And if you start to think about it, you start to hold the tool in between your pointer and your thumb. Okay? That's what's going to line the tool up with our arm. Okay? Because we want all of this to be in line so that the energy transfers to the head. And so, yeah, really we're just holding the tool, almost pinching it. Now I can start to wrap my fingers around it. So that'll get us in the right position versus being like this, which now my tool is not going to be in line and the energy transfer isn't going to happen. We're going to get like this chicken wing thing going on. So that's how we're going to just like grab the tool in between, just kind of like we're pinching it, and then we can wrap our fingers around. So the thumb is there. It's just kind of loose for the most part. When we swing, we'll put a little bit of pressure on it, but you can kind of just loosen that up and feel what that might be like. Yeah, cool. And then what I start to train people to do is like take these fingers and to get the tool to rock, what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to hold my wrist. So you can do this, grab your wrist, yep. And I'm just going to start to use my fingers to make it go back and forth. I don't want any movement in any of this arm, so I'm just kind of holding my wrist. You just see that you can get a lot of movement out of the head of the axe just by doing that. Many times, that's all we actually need to get it into the ice, right? Just a nice little flick. And so that's the first part of our swing. So we've got this good handle on it, and now we can kind of just flip the tool with just using our fingers. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of wrist motion in it. So now if you want, you can kind of hold your elbow to your side here, just so you're not moving your elbow. And we're just going to use our wrist and try not to use any of our arm, and the wrist movement and the finger movement. And now we can almost get that head to come back and touch our shoulder with just that movement. I don't have a ton of movement in my left wrist. I have an injury there, but in my right wrist, I can get the tool to almost touch my shoulder with just that movement. Cool. So right now we're staying all in this plane, this line, to really transfer the energy into the head of the axe to get it to drive by just doing this movement. So let's go ahead and throw the forearm in there, or the lower part of the arm bending at the elbow. So now we can do that. And if you kind of hold the bottom of your elbow, that'll keep your bicep from kind of coming up. Yep. So now all of a sudden I can actually make this hit my shoulder. When I swing, it can hit my shoulder. That's a lot of movement, okay? This is all we really need to drive the modern tools. Now, of course, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use our shoulder. So let's start using our shoulder in there. Remember, we're still flicking with our hands. So we still got these, the fingers are still releasing to help throw the axe in, okay? Some people equate this to almost like throwing a dart, right? You're almost throwing a dart into the ice, okay? So this is the way to swing these modern tools. Starting out by just manipulating the fingers, then kind of going to the wrist, then the forearm, and then starting to work on the shoulder. This will really help you start to drive the energy of the axe into the ice. All right, so when we're swinging these tools, we just talked about kind of the tool position, the hand position, and how we don't really, it's a lot of technique to drive that energy. But the other thing is we need some room to drive that energy. And I kind of think of it about fighting. You know, I don't go around and get in a lot of bar fights, but if I did, I definitely would not pick Matt here to get in a bar fight with. But since Matt's here, we'll use him. So when I swing, I need to swing inside the box. The box is kind of like my hips up to my shoulders. Like this is my athletic position. This is my strength position. So just like if I was going to fight Matt here, I'm in this athletic position and I'm going to swing somewhere in the box. And what's really interesting about swinging in the box is that's where most people's faces are. When we watch boxers, they're kind of going for each other's jaws. That's where they're swinging at. So we know that they're not swinging out here. For instance, like if I was, you know, really short and I was trying to swing up at Matt, I'm not going to get a very good punch up here, okay? Because it's kind of outside of this power box that I have. So the other thing too is to get really good pressure going into the ice, I should grab something. And so I'm just going to grab Matt's jacket here. Notice where I grab it. I grab it right here in the middle, and now I can swing right at his face, okay? But what I'm not doing is I'm not overextending. I couldn't really swing into his face now. Notice where my elbow is. So in ice climbing, if we have our elbow back here pulling in, trying to swing, we don't have good separation. So this is the hips in to swing. So when I have my hips in, I pull my elbow into kind of my gut or kidneys there, and then I can swing, but I'm going to turn my hips in, which now allows me the space to get some speed to actually swing the ice tool. So now I have this space versus being here, and I can't really swing the ice tool. So swinging inside this box, right, is where we're going to want to be swinging. We don't want to be swinging way up here. We want to be swinging right here. What this ends up being is really, I'm going to swing next to the head of my tool. I'm going to place this tool here. I'll pull it into my gut again, and then I swing right next to it. So my hand is basically the same height as the head of the other tool that I'm holding on to. All right, so I've swung this tool and it's in my box. I've gotten my feet up. I'm getting ready to swing my next tool. And of course, I could swing way up here, right? That's not going to really work for me. Really, I want to swing next to the head of this tool. I've also got a good depression there, good concavity that I'm going to swing into. So instead of being up here and really like, you know, tight to the ice, I'm going to kind of get my hips in. I'm going to provide some space here so that I can accelerate the tool. I'll stay in the plane, and all I have to do is throw the tool, and it's a one swing stick. And again, I'm going to move up on this tool and do the same thing. So I've gotten my feet up. I've got this tool to where I can pull it into my gut, right? I'm not going to be pulling it past, getting my elbow past the plane. So I've got it in my gut. And this time I want to swing over here. It's a little bit off to the side, but that's okay. It's still in my box. It just happens to be a bit off to the side. And there it is. Nice one swing stick. And now I can work my feet up and be good on this. Again, not overextending, you know, providing space when I go to swing my next tool by getting my hips in and my chest somewhat out.